right now, a city bus zips around the earth 186,000 miles a second, and sitting front row is my grandma, keeping a portrait of all her grandchildren protected. When I say my grandma and I still gossip, she is not a ghost. She is not a spooky shadow stuck in the in-between haunting me. She is the gap I lose my blues to mid-daydream when tears drag like shark teeth down my brown sugar cheeks. She is the glint of black skin. She is the hymn that makes my kitchen utensils sing, sing, sing. My grandma always said, when I feed my loved ones, I feel fed. More than 10 years ago, while working the graveyard shift, I found out my grandma passed away. And I haven't been able to bring myself to her grave because she's still alive to me. I can see her face in every 80-year-old woman's eyes that meet mine. I see grandma's hands anytime I paint my fingernails with red nail polish. I see grandma's arms warm and thick like mushroom gravy anytime somebody mentions diabetes, loving thy neighbor, taking care of all the babies. Just rubbing shoulders with my grandma was enough to make you feel like somebody important. I know my grandma is guiding me. It is a knowing I can't unbelieve. She's boarded a bus on a highway in heaven. And it don't make no stops, but every once in a while, when I slow down and need her most, I have her undivided attention. Woo. It is such a pleasure to be here with you today. My name is Britta. I go by Britta B, yeah, you know me. And I'm real excited to be your host, your poet, your girl for this showcase. Today I'm going to be sharing a lot of spoken word poetry. And for those of you who don't know what spoken word is, I guess the best way for me to put it is poetry is written to be read and spoken word is written to be said. It's something we do in front of an audience. And this is a really dope opportunity. And I want to shout out Unity Charity and URGNT and Music Together for allowing this space and platform to exist. I'm really, really grateful for this opportunity to share my work with you virtually, online, cyber world. This is completely new to me, and I think it's really great for me as someone who is home a lot. So the aspect of me being an introvert and spending a lot of time alone writing by myself, that's definitely something that is something that hasn't really changed much since the pandemic. But then in terms of sharing online, that's something that's completely new to me. So teaching and performing, this is a whole new world, and I'm really excited that we can do this together. But at the same time, I do miss having people in person, and I don't think anything will be able to replace the actual physical presence of being with people. And yeah, I really just miss it. I miss feeling, I'm somebody who feeds off of other people's energy. So without further ado, I'm just going to get back into the poetry. This next piece I want to share is called Where Are You From? I've moved to Toronto and got asked that question a lot. Growing up, the city that I'm from, there was maybe, I could count on my two hands the amount of Black households that were in the city. There was only one other family that I knew of that was mixed race, and like Black and mixed race. So growing up, I didn't have a lot of people that looked like me. And that had an impact on me. But it wasn't really until I moved to Toronto that people would ask this question, where are you from? Where do you come from? And it's the way that they ask it. It wasn't a way of learning how to respect me. It was more about a way to cut me down. And so this poem was about that. Where are you from? Is such a loaded question. According to whom, I wonder. I carry so many differences in opinion. For instance, according to my free horoscope and according to the stars, I was born on the cusp of Scorpio and Sagittarius meridian. According to my grandma, I come from Most High, Jehovah's influence. According to my hometown, I come from Kingston, Ontario, Canada. Hey. According to the government, my mom is a non-status Indian mixed with Caucasian descent, and on my birth certificate, the father's name is missing. According to my childhood, I come from something a little more taboo, like, say, the dark side of the moon, because my family has a long history of mental unwellness, trauma, and abuse. And according to the information sheets I got to fill out at doctors' clinics, the only boxes I could check off are usually black or other. There isn't even a box that says mixed. I don't know how to answer what my background is because so much of where I come from doesn't really make sense or even exist. So to make a long story short, I come from the truth, my truth. I'm from the heart. That's what I'm going to be sharing with you today. Poetry from my heart. I'm going to be sharing my truth. I'm going to jump right into this next piece, and the title for it is Blacknicity. Blackness, my blackness. My blacknicity be an original remedy. My melanin maneuver melodies and memories. My blackness be magnificent to me. To me. Blackness. My blackness. My blacknicity be an ebony and ivory exchange. Me, I'm most impressed and embossed by a stand-up piano propped up by a limestone wall in a room full of storybook characters. Asking myself, how do the different keys live together, huh? How do the colors complement one another despite the conflict inflicted? Every time I have searched for myself, I've had to dig deep, deep through other people's fantasies of me in this black skin. And this blackness be alive, often want to dead weight. Little do the reapers realize this blackness permits everybody to shine. This blackness be dedicated to the most infatuated, least likely to be graduated. This blackness be tough on teeth to make your hands smell good. This blackness can taste fear in the atmosphere. This blackness got eyes in the back of its head. This blackness don't want to be just another black sheep to a white man's yes, or the approval of the 1%. Yo, maybe I'll keep my blackness quiet. Yeah, right. I'll screech as I teach all the kids how to reverse this spell on the territories that have been tearing our ancestors apart. My blackness will be exceptionally hype and support every one of the Afro-Indigenous Caribbean leaders and dreamers and entrepreneurs on my timeline. I'm still waking up to scroll, still faithful to the forest for the trees, still governments run deep and out my blood. My blackness, they tempt to cleanse me, but ooh, how the governmentality ain't really all that deep. Maybe there's more to this blackness beyond what the blackest part of the eye could see. I could see my blackness. Ain't no nursery rhyme. I could see my blacknicity ain't for the sake of simplicity. My blackness be the arrow, be the bow and arrow that expounds explicitly. Yes, I walk with spirit. Boundless be my vision. Boundless be my rhythm. Boundless my blackness be. Yeah. Woo! Anytime something makes you feel good or makes you think about something in a different way, in the spoken word world, we snap our fingers to celebrate, to share the connection, and to also just give energy to the stage. So if you're at home watching this right now, you should be at home. You shouldn't be out on the streets. Unless you're getting groceries, because you got to get groceries too. But feel free to snap along. Whew. I had the pleasure of performing a piece that I wrote specifically in celebration of Human Rights Day. I'm going to shout out my husband and his team, everyone at Jayu Canada, for putting together the Human Rights Film Festival, which happens annually. That's something for you to check out. It's really easy, Jayu, Jayu.ca. This piece I wrote specifically to open up the film festival, and I'm really excited to share it because it's just one of my favorite pieces to perform and share with viewers and audiences just like you. A couple of things that I want to share before I get into the piece. I was influenced and inspired by another poet named Andrés to write this poem. And I was also inspired by someone I met in my hometown by the name of Stephanie Simpson. She did a beautiful talk at an event that I was at, and something that she said that really rung my heart bells. She says something along the lines of using your voice no matter where you are and using it every day to be yourself and to be yourself to the fullest, something like this. I'm definitely paraphrasing that. She said it way better, but I just want to say that that aspect of what she said in her speech is something that really inspired me to write this piece. I know you will hear this poem when you most need memory, to be gentle, to be sharp and glimmering, to work like a wave toward a waterfall, taking root in tomorrow's truth, circulating like a beam of light inside you, barely soaked in phenomenal catastrophe. I know you will hear this poem when you can't believe how often the unthinkable happens, and you will make believe some part of home still exists, no matter how little of it's left. You will hear this poem as the pendulum of perfect peace swings, as who you love and belong to gets swept in the undertow, and you are what suspends, leaps, bursts open and free. Must it take all of your breath? Must it give your whole life? Every day, everywhere, live your free. Yay. That piece is called Live Your Free. I'm going to do a poem in thought and in reflection of the young women in my life who inspire me. I get to teach and work in schools and work with a lot of young people mostly every day. Now that the pandemic's happened, I'm doing things online, doing workshops online. And throughout the course of the last 10 or so years now that I've been a spoken word artist, I have met some of the most inspiring women. And they are talented, they are thoughtful, and they are brilliant. They teach me a lot about what I wish I had and what I wish I was when I was younger. And they also just make me very hopeful about how communities will be cared for in the future. And I feel really, really grateful to have crossed paths with some really beautiful, beautiful young women in my life. So this next piece is called Dear Young Woman. And I wrote it, as I said, in reflection of some young women that I've been inspired by. And I also wrote it pretty much as a letter for myself, to my younger self. And sometimes we do that as writers or as poets, things we wish we could tell our younger selves. So this is kind of what inspired the piece. Dear young woman, I hope you find you. I hope you find love. I see all the armor you wear. I see all the jewels and gems of wisdom you share. It's okay to shine, ma. It's okay to shine. It's okay to have pride, ma. You don't have to live a lie. Don't let the violence fool you into silence. convincing you that you are not worthy of space and time. You might not know it yet, but you got a multi-dimensional set of eyes looking out for you. Trust that what is meant for you is relying on you to show up. Show up. You can lose your religion, but you will never lose your spirit. Each of your breaths have minds and lives of their own. I doubt we'll ever know the true impact of our presence. And what a blessing. But do you notice that even at your lowest, your aura orbits this quantum measure of hopefulness? The more inner kindness, the less the focus is of brokenness. Young woman, I wish you enough. I wish you enough time for all of your skills and talents. I wish you more. I wish you more revelations than disrespects and regrets. And I beg you to believe in yourself more than your parents ever did. Trust that what is meant for you is relying on you to show up and show up. Carry out your curiosities in spite of the corruptions you experience. You let yourself free when you let yourself forgive. And so when you do, and I know you will, I hope you find you. I hope you find love again. Woo! Feels good. Feels good, but it's also really awkward because there's no audience response. Now metaphorically, I want to metamorphically get under your skin, crawl next to your conscience, the way a really catchy song can lyrically cause this broken battle between broken records, broken battle between broken records. We're playing the same nonsense like a jukebox for open minds. You can't pay me with song sense. Gather everybody around, cause this is common sense. It'll take dollar bills to change, but hey, that's just common sense. It always seems the grass is greener in somebody else's yard. And once we get the green, we forget everything we once were. And once we get the green, we forget where we came from and fail to appreciate what we had all along. You know, I never thought I had a lot, just a pocket full of dreams and a rhythm in my heart to keep me dancing through defeat. All I ever wanted was for people to be proud of me. And the only ones who really matter are my family. Okay, I'm going to share one more piece. I think I have time for one more. Again, I want to give big love to Unity Charity, UNITY, Unity Charity. I've been working with them for the last 7 years. I can't believe it. And for those of you who don't know what Unity is, they use hip hop as a way to help people cope with mental health issues and challenges, and as a way to break the stigma of mental health. And we're talking about hip hop in terms of lyrics, emceeing, being spoken word artists. We're also talking about music in terms of DJing, beatboxing. We're also talking about visual arts as well in terms of graffiti. And of course, I can't forget my dancers and my breakers. So shout out to everybody at Unity. I'm really proud to have worked with Unity for so long. And I'm an alumni now, but I get to still see a lot of the growth that's happening over there. So I encourage everyone to check out Unity Charity. Thank you again, Urgent, for providing this platform. And also thank you, MusicTogether, for, supporting artists through everything that we're going through now and in the future, and also everything that's happened up to this point. This last piece that I want to share is called Fluke. And I am very excited to share this piece and close things off with you. As someone who's dealt with mental health challenges in my own upbringing and as growing up as a young person dealing with mental health issues such as anxiety and depression, I always dealt a lot with some negative voices in my head. And this piece specifically, I wrote to work against those negative voices. Especially when I'm low, I have to remind myself that if I'm this good at bringing myself down, well, then I got to be twice as good at building myself up. And poetry is the way that I bring myself up. And what's awesome is that I get asked to share my poetry. And so when I share these poems, I'm hoping that it will also serve to uplift the masses as well. So this piece is called Fluke, and I dedicate it to everyone that's watching, especially you and you and you watching at home. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you made it this far, thank you. Thank you so much for staying in touch with me. And again, my name is Britta. I go by Britta B. Yeah, you know me. Here we go. Your gut feeling won't always offer you advice. It's piled under files of past deflections of your presence. It ain't always going to be able to tell you what's good for you, but it will tell you what you've been able to hold. For every hint of happiness, there is an equal pinch of pain. Our solar system is swollen with stupidity. Seriously, an infinite supply of some particles fly into our sky, and we are granted this instance, this very interactive instance, to witness glimpses of gargantuan globs of stardust covered in flesh, becoming trapped in flight. You are not a fluke. You's a rebel, with a rhyme. Besides, what's this concept of time but a self-assigned sign from the universe? There is, there has, and there will be, until the is all gone. A supermassive black hole erupting in the cosmos of your heart. The dream watcher is watching you. You don't have to have sweet dreams. You are sweet dreams. Besides, how else could you still be here without the mysterious strength and proof of the former you? You are not a fluke. You seek for one answer, but there are many angles to one's truth. You are not a fluke. Everybody has their flaws, their insecurities and disadvantages, but nobody's got you. You are not a fluke. 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 Thank you. Thanks for staying tuned in. I appreciate y'all. Again, it's been real. I appreciate you. My name is Britta. Britta B, yeah, you know me.